Hello dear students, how are you? So we are back with another session of physics, and the agenda of today's session is potential due to a dipole and potential due to a ring. Already I have conducted two sessions in the same topic, potential. If you have not seen those videos, that is potential energy and the relationship between electric field and potential, I would advise you to first go through those videos if you have not seen them, and then look for this video. That will act as a preliminary session for today's video. So let us start potential due to a ring. So first I will take potential due to a ring. How to calculate the potential due to a ring? Potential due to a uniformly charged ring. Uniformly charged ring. We are going to calculate the potential at the axis of the ring as well as at the center. Before, you have already seen that suppose this is a charge q and at a point r, let us say this distance is r, this is a charge q is there, and we are asking the potential at any point p. So then we can write the potential is k q by r. And if suppose let us say there are three charges, let us say here q1 is there, q2 is there, and let us say this is minus negative charge minus q3. Let us say this distance from r1, q1 is r1, this distance is r2, and this distance is r3. Then we can write the potential at point p as k q1 by r1 plus k q2 by r2 minus k q3 by r3. We know potential is a scalar quantity, and in this formula you have to substitute charge with sign. Charge with sign, as I have substituted here. And since it is a scalar quantity, no directions are required. Simply you can add up the potential due to individual charges. So that is the formula due to an individual charge. But today we are going to derive and discuss for the uniformly charged ring. So let us first understand what is a uniformly charged ring. Observe here. Let us say this is a ring, and this ring contains charge q. Charge q is uniformly distributed over its circumference. Let us say the radius of this ring is r. Radius of this ring is r. This is the charge which is uniformly distributed over its circumference. Now we need to find the potential at any point p on the axis of the ring, which is at a distance x from the center of the ring. This is the center of the ring. This is the center of the ring, and we need to find the potential at any point p. So what we can do here is, we know that since charge is uniformly distributed, so what I would do is I will take a small charge dq. Let me take a small charge dq. I can say that this entire charge is made up of infinite small charges, each of which is equals to dq. Like that I can say. If you remember the same concept we have done in electric field also. So dq. Now if this distance is r, that is the radius of the ring, and this distance is x, because we are finding the potential at a point p, and the distance of the point p from the center of the ring is x. So obviously this distance would become what? Under root of r square plus x square. Why? Because that is your hypotenuse. You know your Pythagoras theorem. This is r, this is x, so this becomes under root r square plus x square. So due to this charge dq, I can write the potential at point p. I can write the potential at point p due to charge dq. So let me say it is dv. Let me say it is dv. Potential at point p due to small charge dq. Let me write like this, due to charge dq. So I can write dv is equals to k dq by this distance square. Now this distance is what? Under root r square plus x square, it's a square. So that will become what? R square plus x square. So dv becomes k dq by r square plus x square, because what is the formula for a small point charge? Kq by r. Sorry, it is kq by r. Kq by r. Kq by r. Not kq by r square, kq by r. Kq, k dq by r. R itself is this. under root r square plus x square. So that is as far as the small potential dV is concerned due to the small charge dq. Now what I can do is, to get the total potential at the point P, I can integrate this dV, because what is the meaning of integration? Integration is nothing but summation. So what I'll do is, I will sum all the small dVs because of all the small dqs. That is small potential due to this charge, small potential due to this charge, small potential due to this charge. Now if you see carefully, observe here this is the ring, and here is a point P. If you observe, at every point of the ring if you take, then that is at a same distance from this point. Every distance you will get is under root r square plus x square only. So that is what we are saying. So we can integrate it. Now we know this integration is nothing but this, k dq upon under root of r square plus x square. Here there is no direction required, because obviously you know potential is a scalar quantity, and simply you have to add them. I mean, there is nothing about direction here. So this entire integration you have to do for the ring. This entire integration you have to do for the ring. So we know k is a constant that will come out of the integration. Even this denominator is also a constant, because every dq is at the same distance. See, what is the distance of this dq from the point? Under root r square plus x square. Even this dq, if you see from this point, this distance is also same only. This distance is also under root of r square plus x square only. Even if you take this dq, then that distance is also same, because this ring is like this. This is the ring, and the point P is here. So all the distances would be same. So even this denominator is also acting as a constant. So I'll take it out, under root r square plus x square integral dq for the entire ring. Now what is the meaning of integration dq? The meaning of integration dq, as I already told you, is nothing but summation. So dq plus dq plus dq plus dq, infinite dq's are there. That small dq, when you add all the small charges, how much it will add up to? Entire charge q. So I can say integral dq is nothing but q. So I'll write the potential Vp is equals to k q by r square plus x square root of r square plus x square. So this is the formula for the axis of the ring. This is the formula for the axis of the ring. Axis of ring. Now suppose someone wants to find the potential at the center. Potential at the center of the ring. So for potential at the center of the ring, we know this distance will become what? 0, because the point P will overlap with O. So the distance x will become how much? 0. So let us substitute here x equals to 0, which implies what? Potential at center would become kq upon, now here if we substitute 0, so under root r square will become what? R. So this is the formula we get for the center. So now we are having two formulas. One is potential at the axis of the ring, uniformly charged ring, which is basically kq upon under root r square plus x square, and then we also have the formula for the center of the ring, uniformly charged ring. The charge distributed is q, so that formula is kq by r. So these are the two formulas we have to remember now. I hope this entire derivation is clear to you. We had to find the potential at this point. What we have done is, this entire charge q, which is uniformly distributed, we have divided into infinite dqs. For every dq, we are finding the small potential dv. Small potential, dv means, or delta v also you can write, it means small potential. So that becomes, formula of potential is what? Due to a point charge dq, kq by r, kq by r. So k dq by r, because this is the r under root r square plus x square, and that is what we have integrated due to all the small charges dq. I hope the formula is clear to you, and now let us take some numericals on this concept. Okay, noted. So let us see this question. Here there are two rings. This is ring 1, ring 2. Two rings are there, ring 1 and ring 2. Radius of each ring is r. This radius is also r, this radius is also r. The charge distributed on ring 1 is 2q, and the charge distributed on ring 2 is minus q. Two rings are there, ring 1, ring 2. Radius of each is r. The distance between them is also r. This distance is also r. And they basically they are placed coaxially like this. They are placed parallel to each other, and their centers are coinciding. I mean their centers are lying on a coaxial line, is that on the same axis centers are lying. So that is what is the meaning. Two rings are placed parallel to each other. The charge on first ring is 2q and the charge on second ring is minus q. Let us see what is the question they are asking. The amount of work done by an external agent in moving a charge q, observe here there is a charge q here which is kept at the center of the ring 2, from center of ring 2 to center of ring 1. This is a charge q, you can assume is as a test charge. This is a charge q. This charge q you have to bring from center of ring 2 to center of ring 1. For this, how much work has to be done? That is what is asked in this question. If you remember carefully, then we know the formula potential difference V1 minus V2. V1 minus V2. For those students who are not understanding this formula, they can revise my videos of electric potential and potential energy. V1 minus V2 is nothing but work done by an external force from taking a charge from point 2 to point 1 divided by the magnitude of the charge. I hope this is clear to everyone. Potential difference V1 minus V2. This is your final, this is your initial. Final minus initial, V1 minus V2. Because here 1, you have to bring a charge q from 2 to 1. So that will be the final position. V1 minus V2 equal to W external 2 to 1 upon q. 2 to 1 upon q. So we have to calculate this W external. If you see this question, amount of work done by an external agent in moving a charge q from center of ring 2 to center of ring 1. And this is that charge q. So basically what we have to do is we have to calculate the potential difference. We have to calculate the potential difference and then we multiply this q. What we will get is your solution. So let us see V1 minus V2. So first let me write what is V1. Yani potential due to ring 1. What is the meaning of V1? Potential due to ring 1. So if you observe carefully, potential at the center of ring 1, potential at the center of ring 1, potential at the center of ring 1 will be, two formulas will be there. One is potential due to ring 1 at center, potential at the center at this point. See, this is the point. Let me mark it as point P. Potential at point P will be potential due to ring 1 at its center. This point is behaving like a center of the ring 1. Plus potential due to ring 2 on its axis. On its axis. If you see carefully, this point P is lying on the axis of ring 2. Point P is lying on the center of ring 1. So for this, I have to apply the formula of center, plus point P is lying on the axis of ring 2. So for that I have to apply the axis formula. If you remember carefully, just now we have derived formula on the axis is kq by under root r square plus x square, and formula at the center is kq by r. These are the formulas. I hope it is clear. Try to understand. Point P is here, which is the center of ring 1. So for ring 1, point P is behaving as a center point, whereas for ring 2 it is behaving as a point on the axis. So let us find V1. Center, what is the formula? Kq by r. But what is the charge here? 2q. So K 2q by r. I mean this radius is r. Plus due to the axis of this formula is what? Kq upon under root r square plus x square. So Kq. But what is q? Minus q. You have to always substitute with sign. K minus q. In potential you have to substitute with sign. In electric field don't substitute with sign, because in electric field we already take that minus or plus in the concept of direction. This is potential, it is a scalar quantity. So K minus q upon this distance. So r square plus r square. So that becomes how much? Under root r square plus r square. So that becomes 2r square. And under root 2r square becomes what? Root 2r. So directly I am writing root 2r. I hope it is clear to everyone. Now let us write potential at 2. Potential at 2. Let us say this point is, potential at 2, at this point. At this point. Now, if you observe carefully, this point is behaving as the center of ring 2 and the axial point for ring 1. Center of ring 2 and axial point of ring 1. So, center of ring 2, what is the formula? KQ by R. Formula is KQ by R, but here Q is minus Q. Plus, why I am adding? Because potential is a scalar quantity. K 2Q upon R square plus X square. X is nothing but R, so under root 2R square, which is again becomes what? Root 2R. Now we need to find V1 minus V2, so I have to subtract them. V1 minus V2. So when I subtract them, here minus sign will come and here also minus sign will come. So now we can add them simply. So that becomes K 2Q by R minus minus plus K Q by R plus K I am taking common and Q also I am taking common by root 2R, I mean minus 1 and minus 2. So I mean your K Q by R is common. 2 plus 1 is how much? 3 minus 3 KQ by root 2R. Here also again what you can take common is 3 KQ by R, and bracket what will come is 1 minus 1 by root 2. So this is your V1 minus V2, but what they have asked? They have asked the work done. So we know W external from 2 to 1 will be V1 minus V2 into Q, and that is your V1 minus V2, which is basically your 3 KQ by R, 1 minus 1 by root 2 into you can multiply Q. So that is your answer. I hope it is clear to everyone. So that was the good conceptual problem. I would basically put this question in the category of good to difficult, like moderate to difficult problems. So, but highly conceptual problem. I mean, at this point, due to the center and due to the axis of second ring. At this point, due to the center of this ring plus due to the axis of this ring. So that is what you have to do, and this is the formula for the difference of potentials. I hope it is clear to you. Note it down, and I am going to take few more problems and then we will start the concept of potential due to a dipole. Note it down. Okay, so let us take this question. Two rings of radii R1 and R2 are placed coaxially. They carry charges Q1 and Q2 respectively, and we need to find their potential difference. Here the distance between them is not given, but we can assume some x. So observe here, rings are placed coaxially carrying charges Q1 and Q2, and radii is R1 and R2. So we can assume something like this. Let us say this is a ring 1 and let me say this is ring 2, and they are placed coaxially, yani their centers lying on the same line, same axis. So let us say this is carrying charge Q1 and its radius is R1, and this is carrying charge Q2, its radius is R2. Let us assume this distance is x. So this is your R1 and this is your R2. So we have to find the potential difference. Potential difference is V1 minus V2. So let us first find V1, any potential at this point. Potential at this point is behaving as the center for ring 1 and axial point for ring 2. So we know the formula for center as well as axis. So K Q1 by R1. This I am writing the formula for the center, plus axis formula for ring 2 I have to write K Q2 upon this and this. This is your radius R2 and this is your distance. So any this distance I have to write. So that becomes under root R2 square plus x square. What about V1? Sorry, this is V1, V2. Potential at this point. So this point is behaving as center of ring 2. So it will become K Q2 by R2 plus axis for ring 1. Any this distance. So this is R1, this is x, so this becomes under root R1 square plus x square. So K Q1 upon under root R1 square plus x square. Now we can subtract them. What we are going to get is the potential difference. So here we can take K common and bracket Q1 by R1 minus Q2 by R2, and here also we can take K common, bracket Q2 upon under root R2 square plus x square minus Q1 upon under root R1 square plus x square. You have to remember potential is a scalar quantity. Potential due to a point charge is kq by r or kq by x. Potential due to a ring, uniformly charged ring, on its axis is kq upon under root r square plus x square at a distance x. Uniformly charged ring, and potential at the center of the ring becomes kq by x or kq by r if r is the radius. So that is the concept here. I hope the ring concept is also clear to you. Why we are simply adding them? Because potential is a scalar quantity. So that is as far as this concept of potential due to a ring is concerned. Note it down, and now we are moving to the potential due to a dipole. Again in dipole on the axial point as well as on the equatorial point. So note it down and then we'll take that. So let us move to the next concept, which is potential due to a dipole. So dipole, I hope you know, is nothing but a combination of a negative and a positive charge placed at a small distance from each other. So this distance generally we take is 2L, and we say the dipole moment is basically the magnitude of the positive charge q into the distance between them. So that is the concept of here dipole moment. Dipole moment is always directed from negative to positive. Negative to positive. It is directed from negative to positive in physics. In chemistry, it is directed from positive to negative, but here it is directed from negative to positive. So this is the direction of your dipole moment. So let us see the concept here. I mean, we have to find the electric potential on the axis of a dipole. Electric potential on the axis of a dipole. So let us say this is your minus q, and here let us say is your plus q. Let us say this is the center of the dipole. Since this distance is 2L, I am dividing it into L and another L. Actually the distance between them is 2L. Small distance we take. For symmetry purpose we take the distance between the two charges as 2L. And let us find the potential at this point P. This is general point P. So let us say that this distance is, this distance from the center let us take as x. From the center of the dipole we are taking the distance of point P to be x. So basically we have to find the potential on the axis of a dipole. So this is the axis of this line joining the two charges. This line is the axis of the dipole. So if you move on the axis of the dipole, you will encounter a point P, and you have to find the potential at point P, which is at a distance x from the center of the dipole. Distance between them is 2L. So obviously this dipole is consisting of two charges, one negative charge and one positive charge. So we can write the potentials due to the two charges separately, and we can add them because potential is a scalar quantity. So let me write like this. Potential at the axis is potential due to charge minus q plus potential due to charge plus q. So what is the distance of this point from here? So it is L plus x. So I write kq. What is the formula of the potential? Potential due to a point charge is kq by r or kq by x. And here we have to substitute q with sign. So I am writing kq, yani minus q, by this distance. This distance is how much? This is already x plus L. So x plus L plus kq due to this and this distance. So this distance will become, this is from the center here, this is x, this is L. So the remaining distance would become what? X minus L upon x minus L. So we have to add them, obviously, because this is a scalar quantity. So I am taking LCM. So LCM becomes x square minus L square, x plus L into x minus L, x square minus L square. KQ I have taken common. We have to multiply with minus. So minus x minus minus plus L plus KQ is common, x plus L. So x and x cancels. So what we get here is V at axis. What we get is K Q into L plus L 2L by x square minus L square. Now Q into 2L is what? We can write in terms of dipole moment. Q into 2L is dipole moment. So we can write V at the axis is equals to Kp by x square minus L square. Generally this distance is very small. Between the dipoles the distance is very small. Okay, so if we assume that x is much greater than L, so we can neglect L square in front of x square. So we can write V axis is equals to Kp by x square. V axis is equals to Kp by x square. P is the dipole moment, which is the magnitude of the positive charge into the distance between them. So Kp by x square. So if you see the graph between potential and x, since V is proportional to 1 by x square, so I'll get this graph proportional to 1 by x square. As x increases, the potential will decrease. As x increases, the potential will decrease. So that's the graph we got. So we got the formula on the axial point of the dipole, which is your Kp by x square. If you remember electric field, similarly we had derived electric field also. So electric field on the axial point, how much it was? Electric field on the axial point was 2 Kp by x cube. 2 Kp by x cube. There it was 2 Kp by x cube. There it was proportional to 1 by x cube. But here it is proportional to 1 by x square. So you have to remember these all the concepts. So this is the potential on the axis of dipole. Similarly, let me move on the equatorial position and then on any position. So I hope it is clear. So let us move to the next concept, which is potential on the equatorial position. Potential on the equatorial position, or you can say equatorial line of a dipole. Potential on the equatorial line of a dipole. So observe here, let us say this is your dipole minus q plus q, separated by a small distance 2L. Obviously from the center this distance becomes L and this distance also becomes L. This is your center of the dipole. So equatorial position means this position, perpendicular bisector. This is your perpendicular bisector. Perpendicular bisector. So here let us say at this point P, let us say this distance is x. At this point P we have to find the electric potential. At this point P we have to find the electric potential. So how to find? So again two charges are there. Potential is a scalar quantity. So I am going to add the individual potentials to get the final potential. So potential at P will be potential due to charge minus q plus potential due to charge plus q. So potential due to charge minus q. So here if you see this distance you need to calculate. So this is obviously x, this is L. So this becomes what? Under root x square plus L square. So formula due to a point charge, what it is the formula due to a point charge? Kq by r. So k, but it is minus q by r, and this is what? Under root of x square plus L square plus. Next you can write this potential due to this. So obviously this is x, this is L. So again this becomes what? X square plus L square. So that will become k q upon under root x square plus L square. So if you see carefully, the two will get cancelled and potential on the equatorial position will become how much? 0. In fact on this line any point if you take any point on this perpendicular bisector, potential at all the points will be what? Same only, 0 only. Potential at all the points will be same. So in general potential at equatorial position would be 0. Observe here, this is the dipole minus q plus q. On the perpendicular bisector, suppose here you are taking a point, then this distance and this, because dipole means the magnitude is same. Here minus q, suppose here minus 2 microcoulombs, here plus 2 microcoulombs. This is LL, this is x. So this distance will become same as this distance. Similarly, if you go at any point if you take on this, the net potential will become what? 0. It will get cancelled because of minus q and because of plus q. In fact, not only in this line, suppose due to this line if you form a plane like this, suppose you form a plane, observe carefully like this. What I am talking is this concept, minus q plus q. This is the equatorial line, this is distance L. Suppose you take a plane on this like this. Suppose you take a plane, you take this plane, equatorial plane, let me call it as equatorial plane. Then on this plane also, because this plane is like this, So suppose you on this plane, if you take a point here, but charge is here, then this distance would become same as this distance. Even at this point, potential will become same. Similarly, if you come at this point on this plane, at this point on this plane, then this distance and this distance again would become what? Same. Magnitude of charges is same. Again the potential will become what? Same. It means that on this entire plane, anywhere the potential will be what? 0. So, or I can say at any 2 points on this plane, potential is same. It means this plane is known as what? Equipotential surface. So this is the equipotential surface for the dipole. Equipotential surface. What is the meaning of equipotential surface? That surface at every point of which potential is same. That surface at every point of which potential is same. In this case it is 0. For example, for a point charge, suppose a point charge q is there, plus q, then what is the equipotential surface for this charge plus q? We will get spheres. You see, at this distance r, this distance r, this distance, here potential kq by r, here also kq by r, here also kq by r. Similarly, let us say some r dash, so here kq by r dash, kq by r dash. So for a point charge, it is a spherical shells which will act as a equipotential surface. Similarly, for a dipole, someone may ask in your exam, what is the equipotential surface for the dipole? So it is the equatorial plane. Equatorial plane will act as the equipotential surface. I hope this concept is clear to you. Note it down, and then I am going to take a general case. We have taken the axial point, we have taken the equatorial point. After that, I am going to take a general case. At any position, if a point is placed and they are asking the potential at that point. So note it. Okay, so let us take a general case now. So let us say that potential at any point. Potential due to a dipole, potential due to a dipole at any point P r comma theta. Potential due to a dipole at any point P r comma theta. Observe here. Let us say this is minus q, this is plus q. This is your dipole. This distance is obviously 12. Okay, suppose you want to find the potential at this point P. This distance from the center is r and this angle is theta. So that's why I am saying r comma theta. So this point is neither behaving as an axial point nor behaving as an equatorial point. This is in general any point P. So how you are going to find the potential at this point? That is the question. For the axial point, we know the formula Kp by x square. For the equatorial point also we know formula is what? 0. Potential becomes 0. But this is neither axial nor equatorial. If you see carefully, then this is your dipole direction. This is the direction of your dipole. This is your P. This is your P. This is the dipole moment, because I told you dipole direction of dipole moment is from a negative charge to a positive charge. So this is your P in this direction. Now this P has two components. Observe carefully. Let me extend this line. Let me extend this. This is your P. P means dipole moment. What is the meaning of P? Dipole moment Q into 2L. Magnitude of the positive charge into the distance between them. What will be its SI unit? SI unit will be coulomb into meters. Coulomb meter. So this is your dipole moment P. Dipole moment is a vector quantity. So I can break it into components. So if this is your P, then this becomes what? P cos theta. Observe here, this is P, this angle is theta. So this component becomes what? P cos theta. And the perpendicular component will become what? P sin theta. This is your dipole moment P. This component becomes P cos theta and the perpendicular component will become P sin theta. So if you see carefully, then the point P is lying on the axis of the P cos theta component. The point P is lying on the axis of the P cos theta component, and the point P is lying on the equatorial position of the p sin theta. See, observe here, this is how much? 90, because p cos theta component and p sin theta component are perpendicular to each other. So I say that the point P is lying on the axis of p cos theta component, and the same point P is lying on the equatorial line or equatorial position of p sin theta component. So I say that potential at point P on the axis as well as on the equatorial. So due to the axis, what is the formula? Already we know the formula for the axis. What is that? Kp by x square. And for equatorial position, what is the formula? 0, due to a dipole. So on the axis I will write k, but what is p now? P is basically your p cos theta. So k p cos theta divided by this distance is how much? R square. Plus due to the equatorial position, formula is what? 0 plus 0. So the potential at point P becomes Kp cos theta by R square. So that is at any general point P. Kp cos theta by R square. Due to equatorial position, it is Kp by x square or R square. Due to axial, due to equatorial, it is 0, and at any point you can say Kp cos theta by R square. Obviously, because this is p cos theta and p sin theta. This point is behaving as an axial point for p cos theta and as the equatorial point for p sin theta components. So here, if you take special case, if you put theta equals to 0 degree, if theta becomes 0, then this entire case will become what? That of axial line. So cos 0 is how much? 1. So V axis becomes what? Kp by R square, which is already we have derived. Observe here. And if you take theta as 90 degree, then that becomes your equatorial position. In that case, V equatorial. So put 90 here. Cos 90 is how much? 0. So V equatorial becomes 0. So that you can derive from here also. So in general, you can remember this formula itself, Kp cos theta by R square. So for axial position, theta has to become 0, and for equatorial position, theta has to become 90. So that is your special case. I hope it is clear to everyone. And suppose even someone may give R as some 2 meters and theta as some, let us say, 60 degree. So here you can substitute R as 2 and theta as 60. So that might be a special case. So that is all about potential due to a ring and potential due to a dipole. On the axis of the ring, the formula you know is kq upon under root r square plus x square. On the center of the ring, it is kq by r. The entire ring behaves like a point charge, because for point charge also formula is what? Kq by r. Then we have seen due to a dipole, axial position kp by x square, equatorial position 0, concept of equipotential surface, and at any point r comma theta. So that's it about today's class, and we'll meet in the next session, next video, with your next topic, which is potential due to spheres, and then we'll move to concentric shells. So that is as far as your this concept is concerned. Keep revising these videos, back them with your school textbooks, the reference materials what Lakshya has provided to you, and download the app. Many more features, many more things are going to be available on the application. That's it. Thank you.